All right. Welcome back to the podcast. Back to Tomboy Official. I almost forgot what I was where I was recording here. Today is day 8. We've got a quote by Tom Robbins. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. And the bottom part of that is, as you go through today, pay attention to your triggers, then be the adult your childhood self needed in those situations. I don't know if I'm really going to speak directly to that, but I think that overall, it's very helpful to treat oneself as they would be kind towards a child. Now, I know not everybody is kind towards children, but I mean, most people, I would say, towards children and babies, they're not going to be even half as harsh as they are towards themselves. Even in their minds, they're not thinking terribly about the baby or the kid or whatever. They understand, hey, it's a kid, hey, they don't know everything. But I know a lot of times with ourselves individually, it's easy to be pretty hard on ourselves and pretty not understanding towards ourselves, and just that's not helpful. But we learn it, we learn it as we grow up. And so I'm not saying it's necessarily from parents all the time or whatever, but it doesn't just like naturally fall into place that way, like we learn to be self-critical. And especially in our society, that's pretty normal. And, it's something that isn't always the most helpful of things. So my intention for the day, Wednesdays tend to be a relaxed day for me. I'm recording this on a Wednesday. I basically didn't have a lot of intentions to do too much today. I actually thought I was going to take today off, but then I ended up not doing that. And so as far as things I ended up accomplishing, I'm going to go into the evening reflection as I'm talking about the morning reflection at the same time. I basically ended up learning more about payment gateways, setting up some accounts. I have this account that takes crypto as well, and so I just was setting that up. I noticed that I got like a nice airdrop on that account from a cryptocurrency in September, so I have not checked that account. But I opened it like way back, so that was cool to see. And then I ate relatively healthy today. Ate pretty good. That was something that definitely was accomplished. Well, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, but got in a nap. I know that might not feel accomplished, but maybe I needed it. I don't know. I just naturally fell asleep around like 3. I don't know what that was from. For like an hour or so. Maybe from like 2 to 3 or like 3 to almost 4. I don't remember. It was about an hour, like about 50 minutes. And people who know me well, I don't really nap easily. I was kind of out. But I don't know why. And, It was a weird part of my day today. So those were some things I achieved. I'm not doing this in order, so back to the brain dump part of things. I was feeling kind of weird since I took that nap. Like, I don't even know what was going on. Like, I was just watching something on YouTube, I guess. It was like a finance channel. I kind of like to watch stuff and then just I'm kind of like tuned into it, but I like to watch things that kind of help me think about other stuff. So I've still been watching that finance YouTube channel that I talked about last time and watching him review finances, and I just suddenly just became very tired. Like, I don't know if I had anything that major for lunch. Like, for breakfast, I just had like a trail mix and a granola bar and a banana. I didn't have like eggs or anything. I didn't really feel like cooking. And then I had one of those Kind bars like right around 11. And for lunch, I get these like tamales and burritos from Sprouts, and so I just made those, and then that was for lunch. I just had one of each, and they're pretty small, so maybe it was something I ate, but I feel like I don't know. But yeah, it was just kind of weird because I woke up and I was like sore. Like, I was kind of like in pain. Like, not like severe pain, but it was definitely noticeable pain. Like, I was not feeling like physically okay. Like, it wasn't even like a stomach ache. It was like my arms, my legs, kind of like torso. Like, everything was kind of like sore. I had a headache. I don't know what the heck that was about. Like, I don't know. Like, and I don't know if I'm like stressed out. It's kind of weird because like it's hard for me to consider my stress levels when I'm not working, Like, I'm working, but I'm not working the way that I'm used to working. I mentioned that this week I've kind of gotten back into the swing of things. Today was another 6 a.m. morning. About 6 a.m. I don't know what time I actually woke up, to be honest, but it was near 6. And I was gonna not get up, and then I was pretty full of energy and wanting to think and do things, and so I decided to do that. And I just knew I didn't really feel like cooking. Yeah, and then I got straight into working on some stuff, and I did that most of today. So I was pretty busy. And even when I was taking breaks, it was mostly like stuff like what do you call it? Like I was saying, like watching a lot of finance stuff, watching a lot of entrepreneurial stuff, a lot of learning about like payment gateways and registering for some different types of like payment gateways, and just studying some stuff online basically for what I'm doing. And so that's basically what I was doing, and it didn't take all day. Like, I did like a half day of that. I did that till lunch, showered, ate, and then ended up just knocking out, but it wasn't right after lunch. It was like a couple hours, like 2 to 3 hours later, which was weird. And then I woke up sore, and that lasted till probably around after dinner, like around 5:30. I think I ate around 5. I had some ramen from a local spot, and then like I started rewatching The Chi. I watched that a lot. I don't know, that show's kind of a cool show. It's on Showtime. I like it. There aren't that many shows about young black kids growing up in neighborhoods, written by black people. There's not really a lot of stories out there like that, so I really kind of like it for that reason. It's got definitely a feel of authenticity to it. It's not like, oh, let's make this for like solely entertainment sake. Like, you can tell that there's like an artistic sense to it. That series is somebody's baby. Like, you can kind of tell. It's created by Lena Waithe. She's got a lot of good stuff out. And good stuff, but it's kind of a dark show. But I've seen it a couple times. I've seen the series up to date once, but I've seen all the other seasons more than once, other than the last one, I think. So I kind of know what parts to like skip and everything if I'm not in the mood. And yeah, like but yeah, this morning I was feeling good. It was just that weird midday that I just suddenly just was feeling drained. Like, I don't know what that's all about, but I mean, I'm kind of going with the flow too. I'm trying not to push too much. I'm trying to keep my energy pretty level. But I'm definitely still very much liking being by myself. Like, that's definitely something that is, I just like being by myself, focusing on my things that I'm focusing on. I don't really want to talk to anybody. I don't really want to interact, with family too much. Like, I don't mind doing it when I'm not busy, but it's like when I'm busy and I'm just like focused, I don't want to be like taking breaks to like talk about like God only knows what. Like, like, this is a bit of a break, but at the same time, it's like I'm choosing when I'm taking breaks. So that's mostly how I'm feeling today. Like, it's just kind of weird how that kind of hit me. And why? I really don't know why. Like, it seems like it was like a stress related thing, but I don't know. There's nothing I'm too directly stressed about, and maybe I just am not able to adequately, notice if I'm stressed out, because clearly my body's doing something strange. And that's more of a sign to me than if I'm actually feeling stressed or not. Like, I'm definitely a bit on the restless end as far as like, I want things to get moving. I feel like I'm definitely putting in a lot of effort, but there's definitely this whole learning experience attached to what I'm doing right now, and there's definitely like a lot of setbacks, like not complete total setbacks, but like, if it were up to me, things would be running a lot more smoothly. Things aren't running super smoothly right now, and I'm just like, dude, I just started this and I'm not really in the mood. I'm honestly not in the mood for things to not be smooth and to be having to problem solve everything, but I gotta do it now. And I'm trying to be patient. Maybe I'm not having a lot of patience right now. This weekend I'm taking off, so I need to determine what days that will be. But I'm pretty sure Saturday, Sunday, I'm not going to be busy. Probably like most of Friday. I'll probably do a lot of podcasting Friday because I got to drive to San Diego. And I'll probably podcast Sunday as well if I'm not on the phone. I don't really know what topics will come up. I have a topic, but I don't know if I really want to talk about it. I probably have to run it by somebody first because it's not my story. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm thinking if I'm stressed or not. It's kind of hard to really tell. Usually I notice when like my heart rate's up. Oh, and that's another thing. Speaking of heart rate, that's another thing. I did have a little bit of coffee, and it wasn't even a lot. It was like a gulp of coffee, like right when I was like heating up my lunch. And so I thought that would keep me awake. Like that would make me like, more alert throughout the rest of the afternoon. So that's another reason why I was shocked that I kind of like fell asleep. Maybe I didn't sleep well. I mean, maybe I slept, I think, because sometimes I'm sleeping at like midnight or so. But something I did to feel better, I was just lounging. Close to 10 p.m. is a little bit of like a lights out time period. I got this candle that a friend of mine gave me, so I'm still burning that thing. But I just kind of had that on and had the lights out. I was watching The Chi, but just kind of like focusing on my breathing and just kind of relaxing and watching the show. And I don't know if it's a relaxing show at all, to be honest, but I've seen it already, so it's not like shocking in any way. But there's a lot of tension in that show, on a lot of different levels, violence and all kinds of things. But I did start thinking a lot today about the financial world. I mean, part of what I like about entrepreneurial projects is that it has to do with funds, money, scaling. I'm really into that kind of thing. Like planning financially about stuff, and then like having some form of control over it. But in the online spaces, guys, there really are a lot of forces against, the little man, there's a lot of these companies that have control over everybody, basically. They've got a lot of control, and they can cancel your account and hold your money, deactivate all kinds of things all over the place. Like, that's kind of the experience I'm having this week, is just like, oh, I gotta sign up for this plan for this thing, and then they're like, oh, this isn't gonna work, you can't do that. And it's like, why? There's just weird little things around every corner where it's just like, oh my gosh. And there's no like book, like a guidebook that like tells you what you can and can't do. Like, the best resource really is YouTube, and there's like screening through the clickbait of like, okay, is this person even gonna tell you information, or are they just regurgitating the other 10 videos I just watched? 6 tips to this or whatever. And it's just like, I just need the answer for this one thing. So it's basically, you go until you have to stop, and then you have to learn how to do the next steps, and then you work around those steps, and it's not instantaneous. Some of these things are taking a couple of days, and I got people reviewing stuff over here, and there's like reactivation processes over on this other side, and I'm just like, oh my God. But yeah, maybe I'm stressed out. I mean, maybe I'm choosing not to see it, but that's just unfortunately how I kind of deal with things. Is I'm like, just because I'm stressed doesn't really mean that I need to stop. But I think my mind and body today were like, no, stop. I mean, if you're sleeping, you can't do anything. Um, and for the soreness and on top of sleeping just doesn't make any sense. Like it really doesn't, considering that I like nothing really like terrible happened. You know, I didn't look into some like bank account and see some like weird like fraudulent charges and like, you know, have somebody like take all my money or something. Like it wasn't anything like that, you know, like I'm excited about my weekend plans, and you know, everything as far as I know is good with like family, friends, everybody's health. You know, there's no like imminent stressors. I think everyone who knows me kind of knows what's up in my life. So that kind of takes the pressure off of this kind of reunion thing that I'm going to be going to on Sunday. But I also, you know, usually I kind of do stress a little bit about that kind of stuff. Just because I'm like I don't really like, I don't know, this might be weird to say. I don't really like talking about my life, like updating people about my life too much. Two things. One thing is like if I'm still kind of in the thick of it and I'm not like past a certain hurdle, like kind of like, for example, with the class I was taking, you know, I didn't tell a lot of people I was taking the class or that I was quitting work or anything until, you know, I passed that hurdle and I was basically mostly through the class, and then, you know, just studying for the exam part and all that. And I still have to take this exam. So, I mean, this other project is definitely a massive distraction from this exam, but it's also an income stream, and so I'm not really willing to put it down just yet, because I need an income stream. I mean, I could just pass the test and get a job. I mean, that's not that impossible, you know, but I'm kind of not in the mood for that right now. I want to do my own thing for a while, at least a month or two. I mean, you know, I have up to a year, and I'm starting to think, you know, maybe just 1 month isn't going to be enough, because I'm already not able to hit the goals I thought I would hit because of all these roadblocks. Like, I'm still in testing phases right now, and I thought I'd be past that by, you know, Sunday, and it's Wednesday now. And I do have very high expectations for stuff that I have experience doing, but also anything online with technology related things and software and whatnot, it changes so much that's like whatever I was doing in 2017, 2018, it's now 2023. It ain't the same, guys. A lot of things have changed. So I'm just like, I knew that was the case, but I didn't really know what it looked like. And because I was working all this time up until the 30th of December, I didn't really have a lot of time to delve into all these other things. Like, I was working on this since September, as well as starting to study in September. Like, the end of September is when I started this project, the income stream project. The other studying started like mid-September, and so I've just basically been you know, trying to make my own way in a lot of ways, but it really is kind of hard to not rely on, you know, a major corporation when there's all these other major corporations kind of dipping their hands and into like every aspect. It's like, oh, are your terms and conditions looking fine, and like your terms of services, and what does this customer service plan look like, and oh, why does this phone number not match that one, and then like, we need your LLC's EIN. It's like, oh my god, like, this doesn't match your name. It's like like literally that's the kind of stuff that I'm dealing with. And I'm not unorganized. It's not, I don't think it's me. I mean, I am like organized to the T about this type of stuff. I'm like, I got spreadsheets. Like it's pretty ridiculous, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I knew what to expect, but I'm not like disappointed. I'm just kind of like a little shocked about the amount of barriers that there are right now. Like, you would think I was trying to sell crack on the internet or something. Like, I'm not doing anything illegal. Like, I'm not doing anything like shady or weird, like, at all. And so, I mean, even with podcasting and YouTube and stuff like that, I've been used to getting bans and strikes and all that nonsense. And it's pretty shocking to me what kind of stuff is okay and what kind of stuff isn't. But I don't know, man. Yeah, so that's one thing. I don't really like to talk about stuff too much when I'm not like past a certain phase. Like when I'm not actually doing it. Like when it's still just like an idea and I'm like getting into the rhythm of things, I don't really like to talk about it until it's like legit something I'm doing. And then I guess another thing is, when there's people I don't talk to on a regular basis, like it doesn't have to be every day, but it's like people I don't talk to on a regular basis, I don't really like sharing my life with them. I find it exhausting. They're not really involved in my life, so to me it's kind of like, why would I share all this stuff with them, if they're not involved, like I'm not gonna go out of my way. Like I just don't like talking about my life with people who aren't like active players in my life, like it's fine, people fall away from one another or lose contact for a bit and stuff, but it's kind of also weird for me to be stepping out of the world of psych. It's like, most of my social circles are kind of in that realm, and so it is kind of weird to kind of be doing my own thing. I kind of went rogue and decided to just kind of do my own thing, but I already knew I was going to do this, which is why I never got licensed, because I was like, if I get licensed, that's going to be a little too solid for me. Like I don't want to do this too much. Like as much as I love clinical work, it was too much for me to keep doing it. Like I've been doing it for like a really long time, so and the money wasn't getting any better. The only way for it to get better really was to get licensed, and I was like, it's not worth the time for me. I'd rather put that time and energy into something I actually want to do, because I was already burnt out from it anyways. Like by the time I was ending this last job, I was freaking I don't know how many days I was taking off. Like I feel like, I stopped working Mondays basically, and then I was like taking like a couple days off like every other week. Like I took a lot of days off because I racked up a lot of PTO. And so I would just take days off, and then it accrues too every like month or so. It accrues. I think it accrues like 8 hours every month. And so every month you can pretty much take a day off. And since I already had so much, like at one point I had like well over 100 hours, not minutes. Like I had 100 minutes. I had 2 hours worth of PTO, but like, no, I had over 100 hours worth before I got the Rona. So that sucked up most of it. And I always tried not to let it go below 80. And so I even cashed some of it out when I had my last day. So I still had some even at the end, even with all the days off I was taking. But I was literally taking days off just to stay afloat, just to keep my income as long as I possibly could. But I wouldn't say I don't have any income now. I guess I could say I don't know how much income I have. It's not predictable. And we'll see if that pushes me to start working again a lot more quickly. But I don't want to put this down yet, this project down yet. I'm not expecting it to be bread and butter like immediately, but I'm also, I've been working on this for a while, like since the end of September. So, like right going into October is when I started. So, I'm really trying to just, do good at this. But also my energy last week was kind of all over the place. The last couple weeks, anyways. So I'm trying to kind of settle into this whole life. It's a new lifestyle for me. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to label it as bad. It's just definitely, it wasn't something I was predicting, and maybe I don't like that too much. Like, maybe I like a little more predictability, but I don't know. I have to think about that more because I'm really not too sure. But yeah, I think it helped to kind of relax into the evening a little bit more, even though maybe I started that process a little bit too late. My mom baked these like chocolate muffins and some bread and stuff, so I had one of the muffins. Oh my gosh, it had chocolate chips in it. It was glorious. It was good. It was probably late to be eating that, but I don't care. It was good. And home baked. So that was awesome. It didn't have any weed in it, but that would have been cool, but I don't think my mom's into that. That would be more like something I would make. My favorite part of the day, waking up was interesting. That sounded weird. This morning was interesting. When I woke up, it was really cold, and I put on like shorts and I went out front. I don't know, there's something about a really early morning, like right when the sun's coming out, when it's like freezing cold. But then the house is warm, because like I had the heater on and my bed is still warm because I was just in it. Get up, go to the bathroom, and then go outside real quick. And like, I don't know, that was kind of nice. The car was all like, I don't know if there was actually frost on the windows or if it was like just like, the condensation, I don't know what you call it. But yeah, everything was all like, there's all like moisture in the air, and there's no traffic yet because nobody's really like trying to get to school or work quite yet. So that was kind of nice. But yeah, that was kind of, looking back at early this morning, I had a self-care morning, easing into my morning. So that was kind of an interesting thing for me because I didn't really expect to go that route first thing in the morning. But yeah, I talked about a couple of the things I accomplished today. I guess a couple more. I mean, the relaxing process for the night and everything, and then recording this episode, and just kind of little things. Like, there's some things I'm going to do tomorrow. So since it's Thursday and Friday is probably going to be a wash. Because I'm trying to get to San Diego by like 3. And so I don't think I'm going to get a whole lot done, in all honesty. But I don't know. I might. I got some Amazon returns, so I want to prepare those. I might return them in San Diego. I don't know yet, but I might. And I'm gonna work out tomorrow, and at least yoga. I think it's a yoga day tomorrow. I think that's what I need. And back to the grind of all this. All the back end of this website, man, it's like, it is nuts. Tonight I'm sending love to the person whose birthday I looked up in February. I don't even know if they're celebrating it, but I need to ask them when I see them this weekend. But shout out to that person. I don't know how to do these I'm sending love to kind of thing. I'm just thinking about people that I kind of had on my mind at some point in the day. I guess my final thoughts for this day would be that I think I need to figure out a way to pay attention to my stress levels, or if I'm overwhelmed or exhausted, because I think I missed the mark today, and I don't know how. I was pretty unaware, but as I'm kind of thinking about it now, as I'm talking, it's like, well, I think my body was trying to show me a sign, but I didn't feel any of that, I didn't, actually feel it. I wasn't, sensing that, otherwise, I don't often have stress levels that, shut me down in the middle of the day. And maybe it's just because, I can. Maybe that's all it was. It's just well, it's not like I'm really, being held to this other than by myself. So maybe, there wasn't really that pressure there of, clients or, productivity or whatever. I mean, believe it or not, I do keep my own form of productivity. But it's just kind of how I have to live life. I feel like I have to have some kind of structure, and productivity structure and calendar for when I do things does help. I'm not too extreme about it. I think I've talked about it before. Thursdays I do a weigh-in day, first thing in the morning. Friday night to Saturday night is kind of a me time, no work kind of thing. I might go out, but I literally try not to do anything that I don't want to do. I do like to study things. I like to read. I like to keep my evenings really quiet. I try and be off of screens if I don't really need to be on them. Tonight I'll probably listen to some of an audiobook. Things like that, where I'm just, I try to have a balance of things, but I'm not necessarily doing the same thing every day. I don't do the Thursday weigh times every single Thursday, or if the scale's broken or there's some weird problem, or usually I do a weigh-in without really wearing a lot of clothing, and our scale is like in part of the living room. So it's like, if there's other people home, I'm probably not going to be walking around the house without my clothes on, and stuff like that. So, I can be flexible on things, but yeah, like, yeah, I think, sometimes maybe my self-awareness is off, or maybe it's not off, maybe I was just ignoring it, or maybe I really was just tired. I don't know. It's really hard. Like, maybe I don't feel like it's something to make like a huge deal out of, because I'm not feeling terrible at the moment. Like, I don't think it's gonna impact my sleep or anything. It's just kind of weird, because I am very sensitive to caffeine, and it was just weird that I had caffeine and still kind of ended up falling asleep. Like, that's very uncommon for me. And I woke up early, and I was kind of like energetic, but I usually am energetic even if I don't sleep well. Usually it's just my energy crashes throughout the day, so maybe that's just kind of what happened. Maybe I just didn't sleep good and I didn't really notice it. And I feel like Saturday night was the worst sleep I've had in like a really long time. But I don't know how today had like a weird thing in the middle of it, but whatever, it didn't really negatively impact anything other than the fact that I was like sore for a while, but it's not like I needed to be anywhere. It's not like I had to go do anything. So I just kind of rested and lounged around and ate some good food. And that's that. That's day 8. We're almost a third through this book. I don't want to read all of the book because I think people should buy it and support Jamie Messina, but I don't really have much else to really record. And I know I'm being kind of vague about things that I'm doing just because, like, I choose to. Like, I don't really want to be, like, pitching things on here right now or anything. So, basically, I mean, I feel like I'm saying enough that I'm working on a website that involves money to some extent. So, I don't think that's too much to mention, or too little to mention. Pretty much any site gets monetized, right? Like, if you think about a YouTube channel or podcast or blog or whatever, like, they're all websites that can get monetized to some extent. So I don't think that's like a foreign concept nowadays, but I just don't want to talk about the details of it because it has nothing really to do with this podcast directly. Just, I don't mind sharing like the process of it. I'd rather talk about the process than the actual content of the site. But I mean, it's nothing like X-rated or anything. It's just, I've considered that. I've considered, making sites like that, but I was like, it just sounds like something that I don't want to spend all my day involved with. And then, there's something about like delving into projects and then not being able to like share them with anybody. Like, I feel like that is something like, I have weed related hobbies. I think that's about, as far as I would probably go with something on my own comfort level. That's what I say now, but I think that's about as far as I would go with things, because it's, it's something that, like, if someone finds it out about me, I'm not, like, too, like, oh, no, like, they found out. It doesn't, like, bother me for more than, like, maybe a part of a day. like I mentioned that like my mom found my weed backpack. It's like whatever, like it's not really a big deal. She didn't make a huge deal out of it. She brought it up and I just acknowledged it, and that was basically end of that conversation. So, but I still, on occasion go outside to, smoke a little bit, and that to me is a little awkward. I mean, I always go outside, but it's like, I keep the weed in my car, and my car is in the driveway, and the driveway is next to the house. So, just things like that where I'm just like, yeah, like, I definitely do need my own space, though, that's for sure. It'll happen, just not like tomorrow or anything, but so yeah, with that, I'm just gonna end my night and get on with things. And so I hope this was helpful, interesting. Thanks for listening.